With the price of RAM these days, why wouldn't you want to get more performance out of what you already have? Alright guys, so you're curious about RAM overclocks and what performance you can get out of your RAM. This is really cool stuff. It's very time intensive, but it pays off. I went from an average of 36.23 gigabits a second all the way to 40.5 gigabits a second in transfer rate. That's crazy. That's DDR5 territory right there, and I'm on DDR4 memory. So if you guys are looking for better performance and the snappiness of your computer, then follow along. I got a lot of info I can show you guys. Alright, so as I'm editing this video, I just wanted to make this comment. In my description, I have a step-by-step guide on what steps to take to overclock your RAM. It'll be in a Google document, so you'll be able to print that out and have it with you when you guys go do your own thing. You'll have everything you probably need on it. I'm not sure. It's just what I used to do what I needed to do, so I hope it comes. I hope it's helpful for you guys. But yeah, here we are getting to the nitty-gritty now, into some overclocking. And so first things first, overclock is going to be our RAM. You know, most people overlook that, but I've been going through this extensively over the past couple days. I mean, boom, like look at this whole like set of stuff. All this info I went through, and then all my notes. I got 1, 2, 3, 4 pages of notes. And so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna erase my overclocks I have now. I don't have anything on my processor, I don't think, but I have some on my RAM. We're gonna wipe that off. We're gonna get rid of it. We're going to do some pretty extensive overclocking. So we got to watch our temps pretty closely, and we're going to check our performance. And then we got to stress test it to make sure it's stable. So it's going to be switching from my screen right here to my GoPro, back and forth probably. It goes pretty deep, and I hope I can help you guys. And I've learned a lot too. Let's get to it. Alright, first things first, we're going to load into our BIOS. So usually you do that by restarting your computer, turning it on, and hitting that delete, or what is it, F12 key? Mine is the delete for the MSI board. And then since mine is in a simple mode, we're going to hit that advanced button at the top of the screen, or hit F7 to get it into the overclocking settings menu. And so right here we're into the advanced profile now. We're going to go ahead and hit that settings button. And now we're going to hit the advanced button right there. Go ahead and go into the PCIe/PCI subsystem settings now. And then we're going to hit resize bar support and make sure that's enabled. What that's going to do is make sure your graphics card can use its full potential of VRAM, and Windows will utilize that. They'll gain you better performance. And now while we're in the same screen, go ahead, go to max TOLUD, TOLUD, or however you say that, and make sure that's enabled, auto, or dynamic in your BIOS. It'll gain you better performance, and your computer will be quicker and snappier overall. Alright, but now we're getting to the nitty gritty. Before we start overclocking our RAM, make sure you guys are on stock settings. No overclock, no adjustments yet. Alright, and what I want you to do is go to where it says DRAM clock, and make sure that's set to gear 1. On my system, I couldn't get anything stable, so I had to do gear 2, which is half. That's the only way I could overclock my RAM for some reason. DRAM timing mode, you want that linked. Not unlinked, but linked together. And then right above the DRAM settings we were just looking at, you want to go ahead and make sure if you're on an Intel, your Intel Adaptive Boost technology is enabled, the full wattage. Mine is 251 watts. That'll give you the full power to the CPU, full boost, which helps your DRAM overclock because your memory controller is part of the CPU. And at this point now, I would go ahead and do a baseline benchmark to get some numbers. You'd want to do this about 3 to 5 times and average the numbers out. You're mostly looking at your gigabytes a second, and then your reading, write, and copy numbers, latency, matter when you're doing your overclock as well, because those numbers will fluctuate. They'll fluctuate within reason, within margin, but you don't want them to go down negatively. But yeah, I'd get your baseline numbers, and then we'll go back into the BIOS and start changing stuff. I will have a link in the description for this program as well for you guys if you want. All right, we're back in the BIOS, and please, 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 please save your settings before we continue. It says, because that way, if you get an unstable overclock and you have to reset your BIOS or clear the CMOS or hit that jumper for the battery, you could come back in and load up all your settings hassle-free. All right, and at this point, you got your baseline numbers, you know what your stock settings do. So now we're going to go into our DRAM settings and go to DRAM frequency. But also take note of what your current DRAM frequency is right now so you know what to increase it to. All right, so you know what your current frequency is, and you want to keep selecting the one above it. So say it's 3600, hit that 3700 or 3733 or 3800. Exit the BIOS, see if it posts, and if it doesn't post, your RAM probably needs more voltage to be stable. Alright, so you need more voltage to keep your DRAM frequency stable. You're going to come right down here where it says DRAM voltage, and the number there, standard for DDR4 RAM, is 1.36 volts. Now you're going to increase that by 0.01 increments until it posts. Now a max safe daily voltage, that's an asterisk, is 1.5 volts. If you have a cooler on it or if you have a fan blowing on it, you can probably push it a little bit farther than that, but I wouldn't advise it for daily running your computer that. But yeah, once you hit that 1.5 volt threshold, that's your max frequency you're running at, and time to get on to your DRAM timings. And then for me, I was able to run DDR4 at 4200 megahertz, but that was at 1.52 volts. Now, I didn't feel comfortable enough with keeping that kind of voltage on my computer 24/7, so I ended up dropping my DRAM frequency down to 4000 megahertz, and I was able to run that at 1.46 volts stable. All right, now go back to your desktop, load into Windows or whatever, and you're going to benchmark, you're going to stress test that, and absolutely make sure that that frequency is stable before we go into the next part of tightening your DRAM timings, because all that will be for nothing if your frequency is unstable. And always remember, every stable change you make, save that in your BIOS, because things happen and you might lose all your stuff if you don't write it down or save it. Alright, now first things first, before we go into actual DRAM timings, we are going to find TCCDL, which should be in your secondary or sub timing options, and we're going to set that to 8. Only if you're running above 3600 megahertz. And now we're going to find our command rate or CR and make sure that's 2 or on auto. Me, I had to keep it on auto to keep my settings stable. And you can find that option, it's probably the first thing in your primary or first DRAM timings. Alright, and now on to our secondary timings, which include TRRDS or TRRD in my case, TRRDL, TFAW, TWR, TRTP, which the lowest value that could ever be is 5. We are going to go ahead and do one at a time and tighten these timings, which means lowering the numbers and seeing how stable, lowering the numbers to a stable number. So I would start with TRRDS, lower it by 1, restart the computer, see if it boots, run a quick test, see if it's stable, go back in, and keep lowering it until you get unstable. And once it's unstable, bring it back up to that last stable value and continue with the next 5 things. And for me, my stable DRAM timings for these 5 settings, so TRRDS, I was able to get to 4. TRRDL, I was able to get to 4. TFAW, I was able to get to 16, TWR 12, TRTP 6. Now you guys can use these numbers as your baselines, or you could go a couple above them and try them. But remember, always save your overclocks. All right, so you got your secondary timings as tight as they can go and running stable. Now we're looking at changing TRFC. And how we're going to do that, we're going to take that number minus 990 and we're going to half it. So 990 to 495, test it. Stable, half it again. So 248. Not stable. All right, so we know we need to do a half number between 495 and 248, and that would be 371. Test it. It's stable. All right, so it's between 371 and 295 or 298, which should be 309. That's unstable, so now we know it's between 371 and 309. You're going to keep doing that till you find a stable number. And for me, my stable number was 560. You guys can do that as a starting point and then increase it from there or whatever. But this is my stable number. All right, so you got a stable TRFC value, and now it's on to changing TWTRS, TWTRL, and TCWL. We're going to keep decreasing these by ones. I got some values on the screen that are good starting points that you guys can try, but you can always go lower than those. Yours might end up higher than those, but that's a good point. So TWTRS, the lowest that value could be is 1. TWTRL, the lowest that one could be is 6. And then we have TCWL, which is actually the same value as your TCL, or lower. The lowest it could be is 6 lower than TCL. And then for me, I was able to get TWTRS to 3, TWTRL to 8, and TCWL to 13, which is actually 5 lower than my TCL value. Oh, you sly dog or cat, you guys are doing a good job up to this point. We're on to step 4 now, and there's 2 sub-steps into it. So the first one, we're going to be changing R, D, R, D, SG, DG, DR, and DD. We're going to be lowering those by 1 until we get instability. I have some values on the screen right now that you guys can try out for yourself. Starts off with good ones, tightens them, and then extreme. Try them out, see if it works. If not, it might not. It depends on your RAM. Alright, and then for me, I was able to get them down to 7, 4, 8, and 8. That was my stable numbers, and where I didn't see any negative impact on performance. Alright, the next set of 4 is TWRWR, SG, DG, DR, DD. Do the same thing. You use the same values as the first set of 4. What I was able to get down to is 7, 4, 8, and 8. Alright, next set of values. We got TRDWR, SG, DG, DR, DD. I was able to get those values down to 15, 15, 15, and 12. Alright, now into the last set of tertiary numbers. We got T, W, R, R, D, S, G, D, G, D, R, D, D. I got it down to 27, 22, 10, and 9. I'm not going to lie, this part of the overclocking thing took so much time, guys. But hang in there. It is well worth the effort for the performance that you gain. Okay, on to the next step, guys. We're going to work with TCL. We're going to be lowering this value by 1 until you get instability. And then it's going to be that next value up that was stable. I wasn't able to lower mine. It stayed at 18. On to the next 2 values. We got TRCD and TRP. The TRCD value is equal to TRP value. They are tied together. They're going to be the same value no matter what. You're going to lower these 2 values by 1 until instability. I was able to lower it down 1 to 21. That was what was stable for me. Alright guys, you were almost there. So close. So our second to last value now is going to be TRAS. TRAS starting value should be TRCD plus TRTP value. So mine were 21 and 21, so it should start at 42. I was able to lower mine all the way down to 35 and be stable. Your experience may differ. Alright, we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Our last value we are going to modify is TRAS. REFI. This is the only value you are going to bring up in numbers. The max value this one could be set at is 65,535, but if set too high, it can corrupt files on your computer, so be careful. You're going to increase this value until it's unstable. I was able to increase mine to 15,000. Alrighty guys, you are done. You should be, congratulations, you should be so happy with yourself. This is an accomplishment. You should see how much performance you increased from your stock levels to your overclocked levels now. Give your guys a pat on the back, because holy cow, this took me almost 10 hours. This is with overclocking my RAM, testing, benchmarking, and making this video. It's like 10 to 12 hours I have spent. So hopefully I have helped you guys along the way and overcoming this fear of overclocking, or just becoming more confident in your own skills as well. This is a greatly overlooked component of overclocking that enthusiasts usually do, but man, oh man, does it have a world of night and day difference. Just like the snappiness of everything you do, how much smoother everything is, and how much more performance you're going to get out of your computer. Like I said, I was able to bring my average values up from 36.23 gigabits a second to 40.5 gigabits a second on average. That's DDR5 territory. I hope you guys enjoy this video and get some value out of it, as I've worked very hard on it. If you guys love it, leave a like down below. Comment, let me know your opinions or anything about it. If you have any troubles, let me know. Hit that subscribe button right over there, and YouTube says you'll enjoy this recommended video right above. Love you guys. Peace.